What's up, guys, and happy Monday. I didn't really film a whole lot this weekend. I probably should have, but I was busy. We went to the pool, we did some hanging out. Jake actually got his GK Tech eccentric rack bushings in. He actually had an issue where his brakes, he actually lost brakes where his pedal would go to the floor. And what was crazy was he was really low on fluid, but it was full, and there was no leaks. We had him push the pedal on the street in the driveway, and there was no puddles that came up or anything, and nothing wet. Inside the rims was clean. So I guess we'll have to just keep an eye on it and see what happens with it. Jake has that RB20 S13. Took this thing out for a little ripper, and oil pressure seems to be pretty good. I think kind of something that was happening, I think maybe the oil pressure gauge was blocked or something like that. And I did a little more looking into that fuel scent, and a lot of people seem to have the issue where that definitely really thins out the oil. I don't think that was the issue with the fuel pressure, but it was definitely an issue. Some other things coming up this week. Britt's brother actually gets out of the military, served his time, so he'll actually be in Iowa on Saturday, I believe. And he's got an LS swapped 300ZX, so we'll kind of let him talk about that. But mainly, let's go ahead and get into some thoughts I have on Rudnick, TommyFYeah, and Roberto. Alright, so this wasn't a video I really thought I should do, but I really wanted to do for a few different reasons. I really like Racer Miata. I really like TommyFYeah. And I'm sure all of you have seen the beef with all of them. And a lot of what I notice is there's a lot of Tommy Dick riders, and there's a lot of Chris Dick riders. So everybody's kind of trying to find blame from someone, and this is how I feel about it. One, Chris is a younger dude, and I totally get, he asked around and he heard from someone who's Roberto, he should, about certain things he could do or should do to his GTR that are actually going to work, make more power, even though Tommy and Jack and everybody told him not to. And I don't think this is Chris's fault that he listened to Roberto. Roberto, with the knowledge that he has, that's another thing. I'm not going to say Roberto is, he's not smart in these aspects, and I'm not going to say he doesn't know anything, because he definitely knows things. But with his knowledge and with the import and everything like that, Chris listened to him. Tommy said no, and Roberto said yes. Chris, being younger, he went with what Roberto had to say, and I don't think that's Chris's fault at all. Chris is younger, and Tommy being older. I think Tommy's mid-30s or something like that. And I place the blame on that aspect on Roberto. I think Roberto should have. And I think he does know. I think Roberto knows that, Chris is easily, I wouldn't say manipulated, but he's easy to put on one side or the other. And, that's not a bad thing on Chris. He just wants, he wants the views, and he's not doing everything for the views. He's doing what he thinks you guys want to see. And, that's definitely not bad on Chris. And I don't think it's bad on Tommy to, make that reaction video that he did. you know, there's some great point. I mean, a lot of people think that Tommy should have said something on the background, like message him privately, and I think that's kind of ridiculous. You know, yeah, Tommy's older, and maybe there was another way around it, but I don't see how there was another way around it. You see, Alberto basically, without saying it's Tommy's fault, said, you know, it was Tommy's fault, and you know, and that went for all the everything that Alberto said. You know, like I said, basically called out Tommy, and Tommy, I think it was right on Tommy to do something to show, you know, it wasn't, you know, if you, it's kind of like an eye for an eye thing. You know, you say this, I'm gonna say this, and all Tommy did was show, you know, what, you know, he did, made Alberto sound stupid without saying you're stupid, basically. And you know, Chris let him do a runaround on Tommy without sticking up for Tommy. Jack didn't stick up for Tommy. Jack didn't stick up for anybody, and Jack just kind of wanted to save his own ass, and rightfully so. I get that, but he also needs to be at a point where, you know, Tommy's got enough of a following, and you know, and Chris has enough of a following. It's time to be, you know, pump the brakes here. Let's see what we're doing. And the whole fix his tune thing was, I thought that was really dumb. You know, Jack is fantastic. I watch Jack's channel a lot as well, and you know, I wouldn't take a very highly rated tuner and let his mechanic, who's a mechanic, not a tuner, touch my car after someone else just did it. And not to mention, you know, Alberto was there. He knew what Jack had said as far as, you know, don't be doing, you know, only wide open poles and stuff like that, but still let Chris do the poles and everything. Because of the bad coil packs, had to decide the bad coil packs, which is just stupid. I mean, the old S14 SR here, it's been run on, you know, dead injector. It's been run on, you know, bad coil packs and everything like that, and you know, it's still running strong. And this is an imported motor, and it's just, it's really asinine to blame Tommy for what happened to that GTR. So I don't think it's Tommy's fault. I don't think it's Tommy's fault. We all watch Tom. We're not stupid. We know Tommy's not going to sell half-cracked shit to Chris. And even if, you know, a lot of people are going to say, well, he did this, he did that. You know, he's not going to, Tommy's smart enough, he's not going to, if he would do that, he wouldn't do that to somebody with a following like Rudnick has on YouTube. You know, all that. The only thing, he has nothing to gain there. And that goes back to another thing. You know, is it smart for Tommy to sell to higher rate YouTubers? That's another thing I was kind of thinking about on the side. He doesn't really have anything to gain from it, you know. You know, he's only really got stuff to lose. I mean, the only thing he's got to gain is maybe a few followers, maybe. But if something goes wrong, in this case here, all he got was the losing end of the stick, and he was not in the wrong at all. It's just, you know, you got a whole lot of Rudnick dick riders, and you know, they got to place the blame on somebody, and they're not going to place it on Chris. And Alberto's in Rudnick's video, so they're not going to put it on Alberto, so they got to find somebody, and it's going to be Tommy, and I think that's ridiculous. So basically, I don't think it's Rudnick's fault. I don't think it's Tommy's fault. Tommy literally had nothing to do with anything. This shouldn't even be an issue. All Tommy did was selling parts. And, you know, I've seen people say, you know, I've seen a couple people ask why, you know, Tommy doesn't sell Rudnick an engine. He sold him coil packs. coil packs. And this is what happened. This whole drama started because of coil packs. So why would you risk selling an engine where something like that could happen as well? I mean, that's just that's dumb. I mean, I hope, I don't know if he will, I hope Tommy doesn't sell him an engine. And like I said, I mean, I have no hard feeling. I don't think, I like Chris, I like Tommy. I'm not a fan of Alberto. I don't know what's going on. I never really have been. I'm really sorry. The flies just really love the camera today. It's humid out. I think it's supposed to rain tonight, so the flies are just crazy. But I don't know. Kind of wrapping this up a little bit. You know, I blame Rudnick for not having the. You know, I mean, you need to ask for other opinions. And I assume, as smart as Jack is, Jack didn't say, you know, Alberto is, you know, right, do what he says. I agree with him. And so I'm assuming Jack didn't say that was okay. And I know Tommy didn't. But Chris just needs to get more opinions before he does something. And you know, I personally like his idea of doing a bunch of different builds with his GTR before getting the big power to put on his YouTube. I think it's a good thing, just because, you know, you're catching all aspects of every GTR fanboy. You're catching the stock to the fully built, and you're catching everything in between. When instead of having stock and then going you're fully built, you're only kind of catching two birds, and you know, it's I like what he's doing in that aspect. And that scenario is when I disagree with Tommy, when he, you know, and a few of them saying, you know, they didn't like him doing the builds for YouTube. And you know, I get Chris doing that. I really do. I understand it. But basically, the whole thing comes down to there is zero reason Tommy's name needs to be brought up at all. All Tommy did. Oh, we got something here. Nice blue RSX Type S. That was pretty nice. Gold wheels. Tommy's name should not have been brought up. All Tommy was in this scenario was someone who sold coil packs. Sold them coil packs. That's it. And no. Alberto is full of shit when he's trying to say that sole reason is because of those coil packs. That's wrong. You bought a high mileage GTR. You bought the cheapest GTR overseas. You know, the oil was nasty. Altezza pump was gone. I mean, there was so many issues on here before this even happened. The car should have had a proper shakedown. The car should have been looked over a whole lot more before going to this build. Now, you know, even though he didn't, you know, that's, I think, negligence on two parts. I think it's negligence on Alberto for pushing something where he knew the car had issues in the first place. They import cars. They know what cars are good and what aren't. They know, they're smart enough to know, you know, what cars are going to have issues, and it's just something that was completely overlooked, and I think it was stupid. But I mean, in the end of it, Chris was negligent. You know, he needed more research. He still needs more research. That's one thing I dislike is, you know, look, I wish he looked into stuff more himself instead of, you know, well, so-and-so told me this, you know, and I don't like that. I wish he did his own research and his own hypothesis on something before straight, this is what they said, that's what I'm going to do. And that's not even all the way what it is. Someone can say one thing and someone can say another thing, and he's going to go with the direction that he wants it to go. And that's just young age. That's not Chris being stupid. That's not Chris being dumb. That's just, he's young, and that's just the way it goes. But But I mean, to put anything on Tommy is stupid. Tommy, I mean, a lot of people call him an asshole, and he is, but he's not an asshole to be an asshole. He's an asshole if, I mean, you wrong him. He's not going to be the kind of person that's like, you know, oh, you've made fun of me, you've done this to me, I'm okay with that, let's just make things right. And that's not him, you know. It's a don't cross me, I'll cross you sort of thing. And you can only respect that kind of person. You can only respect that kind of person because they're going to give it to you straight. They're not going to give you no lollygagging bullshit, wrap around, beat around the bush. And that's one of my favorite things to watch about Tommy, is I love watching that. I like his straightforward, straight to the point attitude. And would Tommy like this car? Fuck no. But you know what? I appreciate Tommy, and if Tommy would appreciate the fact that everybody has their own style. He's gonna hate it. It's not F-you spec, but you know what? He respects the build. And I like Tommy builds stuff for himself. He doesn't build stuff for other people like a lot of other people do. And it's really cool that he's made a channel work based on that. But no, it was kind of a rambling day. Case point, I think it's Alberto's fault. I think Alberto said some things he shouldn't. He tried to save his own ass, and in doing so didn't give a shit about anybody else. He wanted, you know, Jack to think, and Jack's not stupid, but he wanted Jack to think it wasn't his fault. He wanted Chris to think it wasn't his fault. And because Tommy's not immediately right there to him, he didn't care who he threw under the bus as long as it wasn't himself. And the worst part is Chris let that happen, you know. Chris didn't say anything, and and the worst part is not only did Chris not say anything, he didn't say anything, edited his video, and still put it up online without, you know, giving Tommy any sort of respect. It was just a full-blown disrespect by putting it out there and, you know, not saying anything. That was a disrespect on Chris's end for Tommy, and that really sucks. And then, you know, I watched Jack's reaction video to it, and Jack pussyfooted around the whole thing. Jack was, you know, it wasn't his. Some things may have happened that shouldn't have, but in the end of it, it's XYZ. I think Gunner's going crazy in there. But that's where I'm at, and that's what I think about it. And in the end of it, like I said, it is what it is. You can't change it. It happened. It's over now. Hopefully, feelings get fixed. And I could, truthfully, I could honestly care less if I seen Roberto on Chris's channel again. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of him. I never really liked how he interacted, kind of how he. It seemed like he put himself on a pedestal and wanted everybody else to think that as well. But, anyways, that's my thought on that. Some other things. Jake, his outer tie rods, his ISR inner tie rods were on back order, so we canceled those, and I think he's going to get some GK Tech ones coming. He got his rack bushings on. We'll put those roll center corrections on as soon as that stuff comes in. I had some people ask about Orion's car on the dyno. Unfortunately, some things came up. It wasn't something we can make happen during the week. So he's going to kind of... We found a tuner, which was a tuner for Texas speed cars. He used to be, now he does mail order tunes. So we're going to try one of those and see... He's going to try one of those and see... do that. He did a mail order tune on his old... on his brother's LS1 Camaro. So hopefully that works out. And it said it's a 2-day turnaround. So that would be really sweet. I think he's going to call him tomorrow. Hopefully ship it tomorrow. If we overnight it, it'll be there, you know, Tuesday, Thursday, pay to overnight it, get it back Friday. And that'd be sweet. But that's all I got for today's video. I just kind of wanted to touch base on a little bit of reaction on what I thought of Tommy, Jack, Alberto, and Chris. Chris is a good guy. Tommy's a great guy. Jack's a fantastic guy, a great tuner. Alberto's going to throw anybody under the bus that he can to not look like the idiot or the reason behind the catastrophe. Things happen, and I think he was a big contributing factor. I think there was a whole bunch of things that played into effect. I think the car was taken care of terribly overseas. I think not a lot of the right procedures were done when it came into the States to get before it started to get built. And I think, you know, Alberto had a big part in it, telling Chris, you know, you can do these pulls, we got to figure it out. You know, and changing Jack's tune was just stupid. All that says to me is Jack's tune wasn't good enough. I can do better. But I'm rambling now. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know down below. Like I said, I'm a fan of both of them. So I mean, I made this video because I'm not one-sided to Tommy. I'm not one-sided to Chris. So I wanted to make what I thought about it. So I will let you go. Have a great rest of your Monday. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Like, comment, subscribe. Keep on sliding.